Continue our conversations, and we are chatting all about finance, all about investment, and all about education. And to have that conversation with me this morning, I have the privilege of sitting in studio and chatting with Mrs. Elaine Lewis, who is the corporate communication manager, education at Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Shenell. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
Well, we are happy to have you here. Now, this morning we're talking all about money, but we have Mr. Keshon Morton, who is the Deputy Program Coordinator and Financial Literacy Secretariat at the Financial Literacy Secretariat. Excellent. Now, this morning we're talking about the National Investor Education Month and all that's happening as you are celebrating that and raising awareness for investment in Trinidad and Tobago, but specifically we're talking about all that's happening here on the island of Tobago. So Mrs. Lewis, tell us a bit about some of the initiatives that you guys have taking place on a whole, and what are we really talking about here this morning?
Thank you again so much for having me and my colleague, Keshon. As you would know, Shenell, we are responsible for regulating the securities industry. And part of that mandate involves educating persons on investing. So throughout the course of the year, we do that. But during the month of May, which is an anniversary month, we kind of intensify and expand our outreach. And we also, of course, know that we include Tobago. So we're here collaborating with the Division of Finance and Economy to the Secretariat to host this investor education forum. And partnering with us on that would be the Central Bank as well, Securities Association, and the Mutual Fund Association, and of course the FLS are a key player because they are the ones who are putting it on behalf of the financial sector regulators.
Excellent. And even as the Division of Finance is facilitating some of the forums as it pertains to investor education, tell us about what is happening.
Well, tomorrow. We start at 9:30 at the Victory Boost Financial Complex at the Penthouse. As Ellen would have said, tomorrow is basically equipping Tobagonians with the tools needed to invest safely, understanding what are their rights and what protections they may have under the SEC, for redress if their investments don't go the way that they're supposed to in some sort of dishonest way. Also, we have experts from the Securities Association Trinidad and Tobago, which would guide them on knowing how to invest, what are securities, breaking down these concepts into simple terms so that persons will be able to take actionable steps. So we're there at the Victory Boost with our stakeholders tomorrow, 9:30 to 12:30. You can register via the division's Facebook page. There's a post there with a Google link. There's also a QR code on the image that is up at the moment. You could call us at 639-4412. We're there. We ask persons to register. That is preferred, but if you walk in, there's no problem as well.
Excellent. And tell us the time again. So that's
9:30 to 12. It won't be streamlined, unfortunately, but we hope that persons could register, or if you still don't register, you could come in off the street. That's no problem as well.
Right, and this is happening up at the Penthouse. This is at the top floor.
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Now, when we talk about investing, we know traditionally and culturally investing within the community started from things like Susu and Lenhan, and it has evolved into different mechanisms that, social media and digital technology has been able to push. We've seen some legal and illegal. So tell us a bit about how this program will help persons to safeguard their investment and make that proper moral judgment in what they are putting their money towards.
I think importantly for us, we have to focus on demystifying investing. There's a perception that investing is only for some people, not for other people. And as you would appreciate, investing is for everyone. And what we encourage persons to focus on is that you earn money, whether through you own a business, income through salary. And so therefore, how do you plan to use that money? Do you engage in financial planning for the goals that you want to achieve? Let's assume, for instance, you're at your first job, you're 21 years old. What is your initial goal? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to travel? Do you want to expand your education? Do you want to own a house somewhere? So therefore, we try to have persons focus on planning and setting some clear, achievable, or what we call SMART goals, things that are actually achievable for you. But in saving, very importantly for us is having your money work for you. So therefore, we want to encourage you to invest your money, in securities, in legal instruments. There are some persons from time to time who become inveigled or encouraged or tricked into investing in these into putting their money in these get-rich-quick schemes. These are scams and they're fraudulent. And very often persons who put their money in these schemes lose their money. So therefore, at the SEC, we encourage persons to place their money in registered or regulated securities. That is to which we have oversight of. So we have on our website a list of all registered companies and all registered investments. And we advise you to consult a broker-dealer, investment advisor, and to be guided as to where to place the money based on your life stage. So we strive to have you understand that investing is also for you. Be comfortable investing, get to know your money, be familiar with your money, and to make it work for you. 2, consult an investment advisor. If you have issues along the way with your investment, you can come to the SEC in the second instance. In the first instance, you go to the company to whom you have invested with. Raise your queries, they ask your questions there. If they are unresolved, then you come to the SEC and we seek to resolve in your best interest.
Excellent. And would the forum tomorrow help persons to understand the process of investing? How do they go about finding companies that are reputable and understanding what are securities, what are the difference between stocks and bonds and, all of these different things. We hear about the REITs and all of these different terms, but how do we break that down to terms and make it understandable for the regular, everyday, average person?
As Keshon would have shared with you, we do have experts from the Dealers Association, those who deal in securities, and they would break down for the participant what are the different types of investment instruments. And maybe in going through them, for instance, we have the stocks, we have government or corporate bonds, we have treasury bills, and we have mutual funds. And in going through different types of investments, you will determine which is best suited for you based on where you are. What is your risk tolerance? If it is, for instance, you're a risk-averse investor, as most Trinidadians are, you might lean more towards investing in government bonds, which is a loan. The government borrows money from you and they guarantee your principal plus interest at a particular point in time. You can then invest in mutual funds, another low risk investment. The high risk investments are more like stocks. And so therefore, based again on your risk tolerance and your level of financial capacity will determine where you put your money. We do have experts present who will assist you, and there will be broker dealers as well who will guide you afterwards. But we don't, as a regulator, tell you where to put your money.
Understood.
Similarly, at the FLS, we also don't tell persons where to put the money. We provide the information that will give you actionable tools to then make the best decision as you see, given your situation.
Right. And Keshon, tell us, what are you expecting to be the outcome of this forum that you guys are hosting?
I expect that every participant that is there tomorrow, and when they leave with some tidbit or actionable tool that will take them from the place that they are, looking at a roadmap and process to where they should be or want to be in terms of investing. Even if you're not at the place where you're ready to invest, we'll also have information on getting you ready, having that saving to be able to start investing. It's not anything difficult. We would actually advise for you to start small to then gain that confidence. As Ellen would have alluded, your risk profile is important, knowing how much risk that you can take and are willing to take. And that is also based on your age as well. Younger persons may be more riskier in terms of making investments because of time. And persons that are older may not think that, I want to invest that I may lose. And then in retirement and in my golden years, I don't have that money. So it's all about actionable information tomorrow. It's going to be intentional so that you can leave with a plan and some sort of process in your mind as to where you're going to go from here.
Right. I like the fact that you said actionable, because no one wants to go and spend hours sitting in a forum and just listening to people talk and then you walk away. But you want to feel like you have the action steps and the tools necessary to put what you have learned or heard into action immediately. How soon after can persons start investing?
I guess you could speak on the regulatory side.
Yes. So that's a good question, Shenell. So you have, again, you're a young person, and you have, my assumption, another 40 good years, and if you're really good, another 100 years. And so therefore, you're a young person, you're working, you're getting your first income, and you begin to save. And you have this excess cash, maybe 20% of your income you have available to you. You want to how to utilize that money, how to make it work for you. We advise you, for instance, other than the form, on our website, they are all companies registered to conduct trading securities in Trinidad and Tobago listed on our website. We also have a listing of all broker-dealers who, again, you can engage with. So from the forum, you can go to our website, you can see the companies you may be interested in investing in, look at the broker-dealers. You can also then go to our Investigate website, which shows you all the steps, the questions you need to ask. We have a calculator to calculate your earnings and where you'll be from now on, perhaps 10 years from now. They have brochures, investment instruments, retirement, if you're a woman, if you're a child, if you're a teenager. So from the forum, we direct you to our website to get information and knowledge. And from that, of course, you will then decide you choose a broker-dealer, and you will take it from there. But again, it's on you. We want to give you the tools, the information, and the knowledge, and you have to then act in your best interest.
Excellent. And now we live in the era of social media where persons are taking to social media to educate persons as it pertains to investing, whether it be, in digital currencies or whatever it might be. But it's important to have someone who we deem to be legit, a legitimate organization giving that information to either confirm or debunk some of the information that we often get off of the social media, right?
So let me debunk, okay? Currently, digital assets, cryptocurrencies are not regulated in Trinidad and Tobago. We advise against it. You do so at your own risk and very likely at your own peril. We advise you towards registered instruments, which we have oversight of and charge over. And so therefore, we discourage very strongly persons buying into these
cryptocurrencies.
Please don't. The probability of failure is extreme. So therefore, go invest in companies with a track record. As we say, do your due diligence. You want to invest in a company? Look at its financials, look at its background, its history for the last 5 years. Look at the principals. Who is in charge? Do the owners, do the people who own the company, do the people who own the company have shares in the company? That's a good indicator as well. And so therefore, you look at the company's profile, you investigate the company, you inquire into the company and determine from that point, can you trust this company with your money to invest in? And make a decision. But do not rely on things coming at you, that comes at you quite frequently through WhatsApp, through social media. Avoid the appeal that presents itself to you. These are persons who play at you. They understand the dynamics of the environment. They somehow know where you are at your life stage, and they come at you. And so therefore, you have to develop a certain resistance. And that is where we're here to empower you. That's why we say to be intentional, to be deliberate, to be focused. So you'll not be hoodwinked or swayed or influenced by these things that come at you online. Because quite frankly, when you think about it, you're way smarter, but you allow yourselves to be vulnerable and fall prey to these scams. Keshon?
And Shenell, if I could add some context to what Ellen is saying in terms of the reality of the situation. Post-COVID, both our entities are part of the National Financial Literacy Committee, which is national. The ramping up of scams and the multiplication of scams post-COVID has been immense. And the persons that have fallen prey, sadly, to these scams that you see on social media, that comes to you on WhatsApp, in your Facebook inbox, on Instagram, and TikTok, the persons that are getting caught now are the persons who should know better. And that is something that we felt that this particular seminar needed to address as well, so persons understand the reality of the situation, understand what pitfalls you should not get into, and at your own demise, getting into these things that seem so sweet, and that they promise you all these returns in not far in the future right now, And those things that seem too good to be true normally are too good to be true in the world of finance. So it's to dissuade persons from going into that direction to lose their hard-earned money.
All right, okay, Keshon. Well, you don't have to go any further. I'm already convinced I'll be there, right? But before we wrap up this morning, is there anything that you want to say specifically?
Yes, I think the public need to be aware that we have made some major advancements in terms of our ability to protect the consumer from investment scams. Prior to, I think it's 2021, there was no provision in law to protect persons who would fall victim to these Ponzi schemes and pyramid type scams. They are now deemed by law to be illegal. So therefore, if there are persons who find themselves victim to these kind of scams and they have a paper trail, we can take action against those individuals along with the other fellow authorities. So there is protection under the law for persons who fall victim to these particular type of scams that come at us at various times.
Right. So, but how do you differentiate network marketing from a quote-unquote Ponzi scheme?
Network marketing is scam 101, right? That is actually a type of pyramid type scheme.
But when
where
you
bring it, it's layered.
like,
It's called
when
layered
you have
marketing.
things like companies who utilize it as one method of enhancing their product, not services but products, because you have companies that have products that utilize network marketing where, I personally know persons who have successfully done it. So to paint a broad brush over the entire network marketing system as being a fraud.
No, I think it has to do with the elements of what it is they're projecting. If it is that you have this kind of marketing, it's called a layered marketing scheme, and the persons aren't really seeing any real outcome, because there have been a few where you purchase items and encourage you to set up these fake these websites, these paper websites, and they put things on the website. But really and truly, and they call it investment, really and truly they aren't. And you have to look into it to see really what it is, determine whether it's a fraud or not. Only upon examination would you know. So it's not a broad brush, but we, the persons who conduct these type of marketing schemes, would know what it is we're looking for. So you can really distinguish between a bona fide company and those engaged in the construct of a fraudulent paper company intended to fleece persons of money. So we can tell the difference.
Okay.
And we just want persons to be alert and be mindful as to what they're getting themselves involved in.
Excellent. Well, again, there's no reason why you should not attend this seminar, and this is happening tomorrow at the Victor Boost Financial Complex right here in Scarborough, and this is from 9:30 a.m. to 12. So that means we're having lunch, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Guys, we're going to be there, and we are going to ensure that we take all the information that we can and leave with the tools that we need to start on our investment journey. Is there anything that you want to say in closing before we leave, Keshon?
Inviting our Tobagonians, if you're registered already or not registered, if you want to walk in off the street, this is about action, knowing your rights, knowing what protections fall under the SEC and other organizations, and knowing getting ready to know what is your chart forward and being able to start and being a savvy investor.
Excellent. Well, again, we want to thank you guys so much for being here this morning, and we look forward to being a part of the session tomorrow and to its success. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to be back right after this. See you soon.
It's a brand